Hey, this is Mark from Casting Crowns, and you're listening to Dispatch Radio.
All right, with me now, an individual. It's one of the best stories of the year last year. We weren't able to fit him in then. I'm so happy to have him on now. Many people have seen the headline. He was the blind football player at a California high school and now has authored a book. I want to talk about that. It's called Open Your Eyes. It's subtitled 10 Uncommon Lessons to Discover a Happier Life. Jake Olson, how are you, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're so blessed. Thank you so much. And I want to get right to this book. This is an amazing, amazing book. I'm so happy to see it come to print. And tell people a little bit, because you've been working on this book, this concept for a very long time, right?
Yeah. It was actually the beginning parts of 2010 was actually when the idea kind of started. And so, throughout the writing process and editing and then, finding a publisher and, having them edit it and getting it to print, I mean, it was a 3-year process, and it's such a cool feeling and achievement just to see the hard print right in front of you. It's really cool.
What has it been like? I mean, who has approached you the most? Because, I mean, you're a blind cancer survivor. I mean, you've become a poster boy for an amazing miracle that God has done in your life. And
yeah.
What are some of the stories of some of the people that have come to you and talked to you about, their own experiences and connecting to your story?
Well, when I go and speak and when I'll finish speaking and I'm able to meet the audience afterwards, or I get to hear a lot of cool stories, and a lot of those stories are tough, and and so it being able to help them, and usually when they tell me the stories, they tell me how much my stories inspired them, and so it's cool because that inspires me then just to continue to keep fighting and persevering, just because it inspires other people. So that inspires me to keep doing it. But I've heard stories by people who have gone blind, obviously, just because of the relation to my story. But I know there's this one time that was really cool in Hawaii. I was there for a USC game in the beginning of the 2010 season, and this guy came up to me and said that he was working with some high school students, and a lot of them were drug addicts or were come from abusive families or stuff like that, and they had a lot of problems. And he was working with one kid, and the kid was really problematic, and he was almost getting expelled from high school. He was kind of on his last strike, and he said that once he saw my story, that he told his counselor, which was the guy telling us the story, that he was going to quit taking drugs and set his life on the right path, and he made a goal to go to college, and then we heard from him about 2 years later, and that he actually made it to college and he was doing great. So that was really cool.
That's an amazing story. We're talking to Jake Olson, just a courageous young man talking about his experiences. He's an author of this book, Open Your Eyes. And first off, Jake, let's get this out of the way here. You're a huge USC fan. What was it like getting a chance to meet Pete Carroll, and he gets to write the foreword to your book?
Yeah, that was awesome. As a kid growing up, being a USC fan and that USC dominance, just with Coach Carroll and all that, it was like that team was just my life. Like they're superheroes over there, and so being able to meet them, especially going through the time that I was going through, going blind and stuff, and having them support me was something that I can never repay them for. And the grace that Coach Carroll showed me, I can never repay him for that. And it was awesome. That whole team was really was there for me, and it wasn't all show just in front of the cameras. They give me their numbers. Coach Carroll would give me his number that I can call him and talk to him, and I still stay in contact with him today when he's in Seattle. So it's really cool. And for him to write the foreword, it just means a lot to me. I would have never thought that, growing up, that one day I would have a book that Coach Carroll would write a foreword to. So that's really cool.
It is a great story, and it is really, really cool aspect of your story. Let's go to school itself for you. This has been an amazing triumph already. You have 1 more year or 2 more years of school left?
Well, I'm in my junior year now, so I got the rest of this semester, and then next year senior year, and then
next year.
On.
Okay. And assuming you're going to be playing ball again, right?
Yeah, I am next year for sure. It was a great experience.
Okay, awesome. And then what college aspiration, what lies ahead for Jake Olson?
You could have guessed at USC. So,
do you have any thoughts of continuing to write, continuing to speak in motivational speaking, and what kind of things are interesting you now? Because so much is shaken out of all this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love speaking in front of people, and so I definitely am going to continue that. And obviously, with the book coming out, it's going to get a lot more, busy and I'll have a lot more opportunities. So I definitely want to continue that. And a second book, I love to keep writing and continue that. Going to USC, I mean, it would be an absolute dream to be a walk-on there. If I could just be part of the football team and maybe work my way into a starting long snapping position, that'd be really awesome. Obviously, I also love playing golf, and so I definitely want to continue that and really practice hard on the course. So, there's a lot of options, and I'm gonna just keep my faith in the Lord and see what doors really open up and which way He really wants to take it.
Fantastic. One of the things that I really enjoy about the book is that you are just incredibly bold and honest about your Christian faith. And what is it about today, especially in high school, that makes it so hard for people to be bold? What is it, in your opinion, that you feel like, you know what, I don't care about this anymore?
Well, through the adversity, I've gone through and the amount of how much I had to rely on the Lord has really kind of it's opened my eyes to just saying that just because people aren't trusting the Lord, I'm going to, because really I need to, and He does so much, and I realize how much that He has helped me and how much He does help me, and for me to kind of say, okay, well, you helped me and you continue to help me, but I'm gonna put you on the back burner to a drink of alcohol or something like that. That's something that doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of like choosing paper over gold, I guess. It's just kind of like something that's not going to last. So it definitely, going through the adversity I have and seeing how much I need to depend on the Lord has helped me continue to depend on Him during high school and not be kind of wavered by secular things.
The one thing that I wanted to touch on is that you have overcome, and many people would, turn away from God and say, God, why did you not heal me? And your story really is embodying how much God will use that, and it's not a disability. Now it opens doors that you wouldn't have been able possibly to walk through before. And how do you approach that? How do you bridge that gap when you're speaking to folks to make them know that and see that and be encouraged by your story?
Well, actually, that's one of the principles actually in my book. Open Your Eyes. It's one of it's called the setup and the setback, and we talk about in every setback there's a setup, and my setback was going blind, and the setup is that I'm doing things, like you said, that I would have never been able to do or could never imagine I'd be doing if I had never faced cancer or never went blind. And so realizing that's what's really helped me kind of, number one, move on, but number two, not ask that question to God, like, why'd you do this to me, and so, trust me, it was tough. It was tough going through it, going blind. I definitely, obviously, no one deserves to ever go blind, or but knowing that God had a plan for me, like He says in His book, that He has a plan to prosper us, not to harm us, but give us hope in the future, that I kept on that promise and kept patient and relied on Him, and sure enough, as you've seen, it's come true. And like I said, it's not me that's doing all this stuff. It's really the strength that He gives me and the opportunities that He keeps presenting for me to do. So like I said, I just keep putting my faith into Him, and He keeps opening doors, and it is truly awesome.
Such wisdom beyond your years, my friend. So what else does Jake Olson like to do? Let's pull back the curtain a little bit. We talked about football and golf a little bit. What else do you like to do in your downtime?
Well, I live in Huntington Beach, so, I love to go to the beach and surf and boogie board and do all that stuff. Obviously, I love being a kid and hanging out with friends, if that's, playing video games, I like to play Madden, so I'll be like the running back or something like that, and, my friend will tell me when to run play, so, I'll get on the skill stick and try to just make some moves and hope for the best. I love to play poker, obviously, that's good. I got some Braille cards I love to play poker with, and so, I just, being a normal kid also, it's one thing that I really wanted to make sure when I was going blind that it wasn't going to stop me, that I was going to live a normal life, and so that carries on in just doing normal teenager stuff.
Who's your favorite, I hate using the word character, who's the favorite person from Scripture besides Jesus?
Oh, man, I'd have to say either Peter or Paul. I mean, Peter being, that change in, denying Jesus and then coming back and, eventually dying for his faith. And then, Paul, obviously, coming from persecuting Christians into his life-changing thing. Plus, he was blind for a little bit, but, I love that just because, it kind of is that story of how, God was able to take these two individuals, Peter and Paul, and the circumstance they were in of, denying Jesus and persecuting Christians and totally change them and totally open up doors and transform them into followers and use them in ways that they never thought were possible.
Do you see yourself that way? That's what he's done to you?
Well, obviously I'm not wanting to compare myself to Peter or Paul, but yeah, and a lot of people are, like this, where they think, as humans we think, we're going this way or things are happening this way, and all of a sudden something happens and you're like, what the heck, and why is this happening? How could this happen? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I understand now. Okay. I'm sure plenty of people were asking, Paul, why are you persecuting Christians? And then all of a sudden it's like he's now a follower of Christ. I bet that was pretty amazing for the followers at that time to see the drastic change in Paul's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Besides the biblical aspect of this, who's the most inspiring person for you?
I have to say Coach Carroll. Just what he's done for me, and just seeing how he is in person. He is just a guy that really gets how to live life to the fullest. That's another thing we talk about in my book, is just living life to your fullest and finding your ultimate potential in life and bringing that out. And he focuses on that every day at football practice. I've seen it. He encourages his players constantly, and he really brings their true potential and their best potential out. And you can definitely see that on the results on the football field.
Well, thank you again, my friend. We've been talking with Jake Olson. He's the author of Open Your Eyes. He is a blind cancer survivor who is, just changing the world, inspiring words way beyond your years. It's fantastic, a chance to talk to you, and I couldn't wish you more. Good luck. There's not even words I can express how it's a little weird to have to say it this way, but when you're proud of someone that you haven't even met face to face, that's how I feel right now. Just so you know, just so we're clear, I'm that proud of this story. It's amazing what God has done and how much you've received that, and we'll continue to pray for you and all that God has for this journey for you.
Well, thank you. It was an honor being here, and like you said, if you want any more information, go to the website openyoureyes.org. Our book's called Open Your Eyes, and thank you so much for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks again. We're going to have links to all of that. Openyoureyes.org is going to have that. We're going to have links to get this book and listen to this video and this audio so you can really, really get Jake's story. Thank you again, and take care. God bless.
All right, God bless.
Thanks again, Jake.
All right, thank you.